I'm Firebolt, this is Firebolt Reviews. This game is called Infamous Second Son. I can't seem to get a title screen up, so I'm just going to be running about when I'm talking about this. So, this is going to be slightly more reviewy than the last video than just showing stuff off. Basically, you're this person with superpowers called conduits. These assholes here, they kind of want to kill you for that. Well, lock you up, but you know, they're from the DUP, which is hilarious if you know anything about British politics, because that is the name of the right-wing party in Northern Ireland. And yes, this guy is trying to kill me right now, so just fire my neon power at him. There will be some small story spoilers in this. By the end of the game, you amass 4 powers. The way that you get powers is by finding and beating another conduit, a prime conduit I should say, because all the DUP assholes have concrete powers, but you can't steal that from them. One thing that does largely bug me about this game is that the entire game you're trying to get the concrete power, which is the thing that the villains have, because the leader of the DUP goes to your hometown and sticks concrete in their legs. So you have to go and get the concrete power so that you can take the concrete out, otherwise they'll die. And the whole game you're trying to get this thing, and yet the power itself is just shit. It's all the other powers are better. So as you see here, neon is the second power you get. You can basically go anywhere with it. It's quite fast and quite fun. I have upgraded this, so I don't have to keep pressing circle. I just hold it down. I'll try and get the other powers quickly. Over here, smokestack. Get the smoke power. This is the power that you start the game with. Now, you can't exactly travel as well with it. You know, I can't make that gap very well. Oh yeah, I should probably mention, the way that you change between powers is by draining things that have it. Say, that was a neon sign, which I just absorbed. Now I have the neon power. Yeah, on the map I believe it does have where the powers are from. So yeah, I've now got my smoke power. The way that you largely traverse with the smoke power is these vents, so that's quite a nice starting thing because it's not too powerful, but also gives you enough stuff, really. The way that I'm playing this, basically, there's a karma system, which you can see right there at the top left corner. It's got my karma rating. I have maxed that out for the good side, and with that, I can get particular upgrades that allow me to do things that would be considered good, like subduing enemies. If it was evil, I could kill them more viciously. The most annoying thing about that concrete power that I said, there is no way to subdue enemies. No way at all. And that's my main playstyle, so I do quite like the smoke power for subduing enemies. I'll see if I can find some enemies to subdue. Alright, there's a truck here, so I'll just do that. So you see I have this sort of sulfur bomb thing. These things have turrets on them, so they're really annoying. So I can subdue that guy. And then subdue, you know, it's quite a quick thing to do if they're not being arseholes about it. Although it looks like they've got a guy with special concrete powers. Oh no, they haven't. They're just trying to be arseholes with this. Ah yeah, that guy you can't really subdue because he's got special powers and stuff. You just have to kill him, I believe. Or just shoot at him enough so that he surrenders. Yeah, so he's dead though. You can drain concrete from the enemies, so I'll show you what I mean by the enemy thing. That's your way of traversing. You can't go up walls, you can't go through vents. The only way that you can really get up buildings is by floating around like this. Which you kind of have a semi sort of hover with the other powers, but with this, you know, it raises you up a bit. But you know, I have to climb to actually get anywhere with this thing. It's just rubbish, really. The only thing it's really useful for is you can see, like, I have a certain amount of power there, and above it I have missiles. They are like special powers. They don't drain your overall thing, so you see I'm firing for a little while. I start running out of that. So the only way I can get concrete is to drain it out of enemies, and that refills my energy, if you will. But the only thing that's really useful for is that, which is you fire some discs out. That's only really useful for taking out large groups of enemies, and then you don't even subdue them, which I find quite annoying. So I'm gonna get the third power that you get. I'm not sure if it's meant to be the most powerful, because although you can subdue with this, I find it the most difficult. Hang on, there's some arseholes here. This does have quite a nice rapid fire though. I suppose it's kind of a thing where, like, if you're evil, the evil power is probably more useful to you, which kind of makes sense, but I would like an option to subdue with that. So yeah, I'm gonna try and get the video power. It's more difficult to find, I think, the video power. Oh yeah, you can do that little boulder dash thing in midair, but also on the ground. I think that sort of makes you invincible for a little while, but I don't think it's worth it. So yeah, video here. That is the final power. Now it's a lot easier to traverse also. You see the colour of that little bar there? That gets slightly confusing because the concrete one is roughly the same colour as the video one. And I would have preferred if this was blue, because that's the actual colour of the things that you're emitting. So yeah, as you can see with this, I have little angel wings, which means I can sort of fly, although that's limited time. But you know, I can fly up buildings actually, so it's quite helpful in that respect. I'll show both how you subdue with neon and video. Doing video first since I've already got it. The way that you should subdue with this is in this you have a power where you go invisible. I've upgraded that so that I have an angel that distracts the enemy. Basically you go up behind people and then subdue them. But generally, unless you upgrade it, that doesn't last very long, and it's quite difficult to cover multiple people at once, because once you subdue one person, they kind of realize. And the neon has something that I find a bit more difficult to subdue with than smoke, which is why I prefer using smoke for battles and either neon or video for just traversing things, because with smoke you have to do it much slower. Yeah, I'll go find some enemies to test out some powers on. The enemies will only attack you if they see you using your powers. Yeah, that's an annoying thing. But since I'm a bit further in the game, all the vehicles have turrets on them which are really accurate, and I can't seem to take them out when they're on top of a building. Yeah, so the way that I would do it if I was taking out these guys, subdue. You see, I have upgraded this so that I don't become visible after subduing. But then, you know, gotta go invisible again, which uses a lot of power. And then hope I can get to someone else. Oh look, they've got that thing on. It is a lot easier with that little power up so that you don't become visible once you subdue someone. But I still find it just annoying to use in general. Take out this guy because you can't subdue these people normally because they've got, like, they're specially upgraded in that power or whatever. Yeah. Right, so I'll show how you subdue with neon. I would have to say that neon is my favourite power overall because of the traversal and it's relatively easy to fight with. So basically the two, well, you can subdue people by going like that, and then they go into a stasis bubble thing, and you aim at them by zooming in and trying to shoot at their legs. But as you progress through the game, you have to shoot the enemies twice in the legs if they're a bit tougher, which I just find annoying, and by that point I'm being shot by a lot of people. So you see here, shoot him in the leg, he's subdued. I think this game would be much better if you played it evilly, but I would rather play it this way because I actually find subduing easier than killing. Because, you know, it's just, with the smoke, it's just hit one button, they're stunned, hit one button, rather than I have to shoot you a couple of times and I'm not a very good aim. Which is why I prefer the smoke way of doing things, because I can't aim very well. With these guys, they have only got one hit on their legs because they're less tough, but like I said, with the later ones they have two, which gets annoying to use the subduing thing. But by far this is probably the best way to traverse, unless you like going on the insides of buildings, in which case it's kind of useless in that respect. I mean, you don't really get very good flight, you just sort of because you're going so quickly, don't drop off as much. But you know, it's fast and you can jump around, so that makes it slightly easier. So you can jump in mid-flight. I mean, once you have actually finished the story, though, there is some stuff to do. Which is mainly, if I bring up the map, you take over. Hang on, these districts. Now, basically the way that you stop the DEP from controlling this, I think if you get that to 0%, they'll stop harassing you altogether in that area. But this one I haven't done properly yet, so I can do these spray paint things to inspire people and do these various activities, and then I get a final showdown thing and unlock that area. But I do find that gets tedious after a while, so I'll just do one of these showdown things just to show you what I'm on about. So where am I at the moment? I'm here. So I can take out these security cameras, take out scanning stations, take out these tracker drones and stuff like that. Or I could do these slightly more special activities where you find a hidden camera or find audio logs or spray paint something. So I'm just going to sort of do that and talk while I'm at it. So take out that camera. They're generally not hard to take out, those, which I suppose makes sense. Oh, and when you're traversing, you don't actually drain your power, which I felt a bit weird, but to be honest, I'm glad that happened, because otherwise I would be running out of power so often that it would just become annoying. And then you could get stuck in places, so I think mechanically that works, but it doesn't exactly make sense. So there's a camera below me here. Just take that out. I'll probably be using neon mostly unless I'm taking out enemies, in which case I prefer smoke. I don't know where digital really falls there. I think it's kind of useful for taking out people sometimes, especially the missile with digital is quite useful. So see if I can find something to drain digital from. So here, this satellite here. The missiles for this are quite useful, especially when taking out helicopters, because it locks on and does quite a lot of damage when you don't tend to get helicopters much. But when you're just out and about, you do get these little special events. Well, not really special events, but like drug dealers here. So I'll just go invisible. You're kind of meant to subdue them. Oh yeah, I do find that the invisibility thing doesn't always turn on, and I'm not entirely sure why. I think it's if you're in range of someone, it doesn't exactly work, but then like, if I just want to go invisible, that's kind of annoying. So once you build up a karmic streak, which is basically either you do, I believe it's 6 good things in a row with no bad things, or vice versa with evil deeds and stuff. So then you get this cool little special power. With the good ones, it always subdues your enemies, and with the bad ones, it always kills them. So yeah, that's quite a powerful special attack right there, and seems to take out most things. Also, some enemies will just surrender if they're alone, although this guy doesn't seem like he wants to do that. Generally, you see this crate here, you're supposed to just take that out and then probably subdue the dealers so that they don't kill you. I believe there are some other good things you can do, like healing people and unlocking the DEP suspects that they've put in cages and are rounding up. This is set in Seattle if you haven't noticed. It's Big Space Needle, let's go climb that. I was going to take over this area, but I've kind of gotten bored with that. You see, I don't know how replayable it is, but you do get slightly different missions depending on whether you're evil karma or good karma. I find karma an annoying word to use, but it's just what it's called within the game. And I believe there are 2 sort of distinct districts. Oh, I can't seem to get up there. How do you get up here? I'm generally meant to climb the thing, but there's not really, because before there was a DEP structure around here, so you could climb up that a bit. And if you do this little angel dash into a satellite, you get launched in the air. Not very high though, which I find slightly annoying. I can't seem to climb this bit here, so I'm gonna have to just sort of cheat my way up there. I could get a neon power and then it would be less fiddly. You know what, I'm gonna do that. There's a neon sign there. Different power sources tend to give you certain amounts of power. Say big signs will give you more power and little signs will give you less. See, it seems to think that that's sort of gone back on itself, so it's not letting me go up there. I don't know if I'm actually allowed to go up there since I've last been. I think they might have invisibly walled it off, which is kind of annoying because it's a big landmark of Seattle and they won't let you climb up it other than in one mission. I'll go do a spray paint thing because it's quite a big thing that happens throughout the game. Basically at the beginning of the game you're doing some, I would say, fairly artsy graffiti. It's not just like writing your name and stuff, and you get busted for that, and then you find a conduit and steal his powers. If you couldn't tell really, there's quite a lot of anti-sentiment against these conduits. They're actually called bioterrorists for most of the game, and you see these activists here. I can disrupt this rally, but then I get evil karma for that, and I don't want to do that, so, because it's like right to protest and that. I'm genuinely thinking these videos will be a little bit shorter than the Saturday videos. Well, quite a bit shorter, I think. General length for the Saturday videos will vary, but around, I don't know, 30 to 40 minutes usually. This will be, you know, at most half an hour. At the very least 15 minutes, so a lot shorter in that sense. So yeah, like I said, the neon power is my preferred mode of transport. There is something else annoying about this game. You can't actually walk. Like, I can slightly jog, but I can't walk, and I find it's quite a nice thing for just looking normal in a situation. I don't know, kind of, I suppose, semi just sort of playing around with it, and if you wanted to do something where you're actually playing a character, it would be better if you could walk, but it doesn't exactly look normal if you're constantly running around the place. If you're trying to sort of blend in, that doesn't look right. So yeah, here's the spray paint thing, and this does use the PS4's touchpad as well as its motion controls. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that. So with these paint jobs you can decide to do good or bad thing. So you see I'm tilting this to change the direction of that and then spraying with RT. You do like maybe 3 of these little stencil bits. After that it just does the rest by itself, so it's kind of pointless. Like right here I'm just spray painting a squirrel, but there's going to be something else interesting happening. So you see here, it's going to fade to black and then he's going to do the rest of the thing. I would kind of like it if it allowed you to do the rest of the thing, but then, you know, that would take time. You see, that's so much more than what I just did there. And you could have done the orange bits here, the black bits here, white, and then another blue bit. It would be fairly simple to do. I don't know, I'm just moaning now. I will have a bit of a moan about some of these games. Last time it was just a bit of a tutorial sort of thing. I wasn't really criticising the game, although to be honest with that Counter Spy game there wasn't really much to criticise, I don't think. I mean, it does get a little bit repetitive after a while. Anyway, I'm rambling now and not really talking about this game, am I? I'll go to one of these, basically, look on the map here. You have these mobile command centers that I'm currently centered on. They are heavily guarded vehicles. Basically the way that you do upgrades, so I have powers here. I have 5 shards, so I can upgrade various things. Hovering fire, which basically means I can, when firing, I can hover with the digital power. So I'm gonna get that. And then if I go get the digital power, I can show off how that works. The way that you get those shards, you would take down these little tracker drones. There are other ways of getting it, and the DUP mobile command centers are a way to do that, because they release a bunch of shards. So you see there, 2 shards collected, 11 upgrades available. I'm not going to upgrade again. You can upgrade various powers that you already have, or just get entirely new things. It's an annoying sort of story thing, where it goes, basically once you get a new power, you, for that mission, can't drain your other powers. And it makes a big deal out of that. And then after that mission, you can just start draining again. So I'm just kind of a bit whingy about that. So just test out this digital power. So now, it doesn't seem to be doing what it's saying. Hang on. I'll zoom in and do it. Ah, you have to zoom in whilst you're doing it. Right, I did just assault some activists by accident there, so that got me some evil karma. I'm not going to do that again, that was genuinely an accident. Yeah, I'll go to that mobile command center, because now I'm just rambling on about random things. Quite a story-focused game, and I do find that the people with the actual powers are quite archetypal, I would say. Oh shit. Right, this is the mobile command center. Big thing, you shoot off these panels and then the top bit opens up, but you need the area to be cleared pretty much for that to work. But you see, I'm getting shot a lot there, so I just tend to run away. You have regenerative health and that sort of thing. And I believe if you drain things, you get health from that. But I don't think you regenerate when just like running about like this, which is annoying because I use that quite a bit to get away. It'd be nice if I regenerated faster. But that's just because I'm shit at things. I do find the enemies a bit much sometimes, as they sort of surround you. But if you can get a few subdues in, then you charge up your karmic streak power, end up being able to take out a bunch of them at once. To be honest, this isn't really the ideal power to be fighting with. I do find sometimes the enemies surrender at rather random times. Oh fuck, I just died there because I'm shit at the game. Sometimes, yeah, the enemies will surrender at random times in the middle of a gunfight when they have plenty of backup. And sometimes they won't surrender when they have no backup. So that can get quite irritating. I don't think they really detect each other's presence very much. They just sort of have a group of people that they're attached to, and if one person in that group get killed and it's just off somewhere else, or it's a small group and it's in the middle of a gunfight, I don't know. I mean, you could come and kind of make a case that they're surrendering because they just see how powerful you are by killing a few of them, but I do find it a bit weird that they'd do that in the middle of a gunfight. You get these big bastard things that, I'm just gonna heal this person here, that have big machine guns and are really accurate and difficult to kill. That, as far as I can see, there's very little way to deal with them other than just firing at them until they die. Boring way to play, I find, because just a basic sort of fire thing is quite a boring power to have. Killing people, but it's not an interesting mechanic. It's been done. So you just subdue that guy. Just killing enemies doesn't seem to give you evil karma, but brutalizing them I think does. I'm not gonna do that right now because I want to get this streak up. But I could fire at their heads to, I believe, brutalize. I've never actually done it. I'm assuming that it's brutalize, like putting them in a lot of pain, and that's the evil thing to do, rather than just killing people that are shooting at you in a slightly different way to what you'd normally do. See, it died again. These mobile command centers are quite difficult to take out. I mean, I know I'm not the greatest at games, and I'll keep saying that throughout the series. This is why I'm dying a lot. Yeah, this is on normal mode. I'm not entirely sure where I stand on the difficulty of games, because if it's too easy, then it gets fairly boring. Although if you are in it for the story, then that's probably better. But if it's too hard, then you just get mad at the actual game rather than trying to actually get better at it. Which you probably have seen the Orbiter do a few times during our Saturday videos. They have like rooftop snipers and stuff that are really annoying. But to be honest, they seem to be taking themselves out of it. You know, since I say that I prefer smoke for battle, I'm gonna go get some smoke. It's just very annoying to try and escape with it, that's the thing. So, they do kind of balance out in a way. So I do find that I tend to be much more critical of AAA games, because I know that they had the budget to sometimes do better. But with indie games, it's like, well, you can't exactly be perfect, can you? If it's like I don't know. I mean, with the Counter Spy thing, I wouldn't imagine that's like a AAA game, but you know, it probably had a team of about 10 people on it, I would say. I'm not entirely sure, don't quote me on that. But yeah, so I find it much easier to just deal with enemies in the smoke mode. Although these auto turrets are vicious, you have to take them out from behind. So, you know what, I'm gonna leave it there. Because I'm genuinely not that good at this game, and I couldn't take that out, so I'm sorry that I didn't get to showcase that. I have been Firebolt, and this has been Infamous Second Son. Farewell.